The U.S. was once home to the picture-perfect American dream. A house, a car, and a job symbolized the middle class as the core of a prosperous country. Yet, for an increasing amount of Americans, some or all of these are now out of reach.
This country was founded on the ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can you be happy if you can't pay your rent? How is this American in any way, shape, or form?
The new America is littered with millions of homes lost and abandoned, with the unemployed officially at over 13 million still queuing to get a job. Does this mean the middle class is disappearing in the U.S.?
There have been 4 pillars that supported the American middle class. The chance to retire, the chance to send your kids to higher education, graduate school, university, the chance to work and afford a comfortable standard of living, and access to medical care. And if we look, all 4 of these pillars are chipped, cracked, or swaying.
Today, over 60% of Americans say they typically live paycheck to paycheck, leaving little for college fees, mortgage payments, or retirement. The U.S. is increasingly being divided into rich and poor, with the traditionally large center, the middle class, being squeezed out. The bottom 50% of earners today own less than 1% of the country's wealth.
America's gone from the most egalitarian nation on earth back in the 1960s and early 70s to now where the gap between the rich and the poor is the widest in the United States than any of the industrialized nations. So by every indice, the middle class is dead in America.
Caleb comes from a traditional American middle-class family. The 23-year-old college graduate lives in a rented basement and says middle-class jobs just don't exist anymore.
I was taught all my life in the media and in school that the United States was the greatest country in the world because if you just work hard, you can be part of this magical middle class. I'm part of a generation of youth who will never have this so-called American dream.
Finding work on average takes 8.5 months now, and with 6 Americans vying for each job, the prospects for the country's youth look dim.
The future that lies is living in basements like I do. Some of them are becoming homeless. Others are going to prison, right? There's increasing crime and drug use and things like that. There's also the wars, right? The military is, they don't have a recruitment problem anymore now that the economy has declined so much.
What hasn't declined is military spending.
I'm a teacher. There's teachers laid off left and right. This is the future of our country, and we are spending more money. I mean, a tremendous billions are being spent on war, on the war machine.
Priorities having a devastating effect on middle and working class America. Melanie Samuels runs a food pantry in New York. She says the face of hunger in America has drastically changed.
Now we're seeing people that do have an education, used to have decent jobs, now online, coming in teary-eyed, crying. They never thought this would happen to them.
Some 40% of the 43 million food stamp recipients today are working Americans, and every 5th child now lives below the poverty line. America grew prosperous on the belief that the next generation of workers would live better than the first. But nowadays, the outlook for the future is anything but optimistic.
We're going to see more and more of a squeeze, more people on food stamps, more people at food kitchens, and more malnourished and hungry children in this country, no question.
As the foundation of the middle class continues to crumble, concerns are growing that the heart of the American dream could stop beating altogether. And if the middle class collapses, the face of America in the 21st century could become one this country has never seen before. Anastasia Churkina, RT, New York.